Hello everyone, this is Church of STFU. I'm just responding to a video by a user I just came across, Watcher Ezreal. Obviously he's been around for a while, but I'm just picking up more and more subscriptions as I get more into YouTube. So the video is all about how Islam is not fundamentally different to Christianity. It's not a more dangerous faith. It's not some great force of evil when you compare it to other religions. And I wanted to add to that, because obviously a lot of the criticism, like Draw Muhammad Day, really came from the atheist side. And us atheists, we usually feel pretty cocky about atheism. I think a lot of us seem to think that it's going to fix the world. Now, for starters, correlation does not equal causation. If you haven't heard that before, look it up. Basically what it means is, just because you can spot certain trends somewhere doesn't mean that trend, that correlation is responsible for some other attribute that you pick up. So just because a lot of third world countries are Muslim does not mean that being Muslim caused them to be third world countries. In my opinion, a far more likely scenario, considering that there's also a lot of Christian countries of the third world, is it had something to do with geography and luck. Guns, Germs and Steel is a really cool documentary that makes a pretty sensible argument, for me at least, on why certain places of the world ended up better off than others. But here's the thing. If you want to make the argument that in this case correlation equals causation, then look at the situation as it stood 60 years ago, where in the West there was still a lot of religiosity. Most people still professed faith. Where was the biggest pool of unbelievers? Russia, Soviet Russia, and the Soviet bloc in general, and China, and other communist countries. Now, those weren't exactly light bearers when it came to advancement in any fields except for weaponry, and they certainly weren't doing very well by their people. And I'm not saying that as some form of right-winger. I'm a left-winger myself. But if you just look at the facts, the things Mao did, the millions of lives that were lost through his sheer folly, that put most third world countries today to shame. Russia was a little better, but under Stalin especially, it wasn't exactly looking very promising. So back then, if you looked at the atheist population, you probably would have had about 80% of the atheist population, at least, maybe more, living in those countries. Those third, in the case of Russia, barely second world countries that experienced terrible famines that killed millions, and that would spend the next 30 years making hardly any progress and becoming increasingly bankrupt. So I guess their atheism was to blame. I guess if only they become Christian or Muslim or Hindu, everything would have been fixed, problem solved. Of course I don't believe that. As a matter of fact, as an atheist, I do believe that people, as they get wealthier, as they get more prosperous, as they get better off, as their standard of living increases, as they get more educated, there will be more atheists in the society. And I think that's what we're seeing today in the West. Of course, I'm aware that many of my religious friends would dispute that, or at least consider other reasons for why there might be more religious uncertainty or disbelief today. But my point is, at best, this is a consequence, not a cause. And sure, a hardline religious faith can be a detriment. It can stop people from adopting important changes. So, for example, if you're hardline Christian or hardline Muslim, then expanding on the rights for homosexuals is going to be a big ask. But actually, when it comes to a very liberal Christian or a very liberal Muslim, and yes, they do exist, there's no more barrier there in most cases than there is for an atheist. So I think rather than looking to the spread of atheism to save the world, certainly spread secularism, that's great, religious freedom and freedom from a religion, that is excellent. Let people do what they want, wholly aside from religion. I think that's very important. But spreading unreligion isn't going to fix the world, just like it didn't fix it when it was first spread on a huge scale 60, 70 years ago. Anyways, this was Church of STFU. Just thought I'd throw in my 5 cents. And apologies, I seem to just be making kind of pro-Christian, pro-Muslim, and not pro, but like in defense of. But, as I said, I think we should be fair. And that's more important to me than anything else. And I think there's a huge amount of promotion of kind of atheist brain farting and these ideas that, as I said, it would fix the world, and it's just not gonna. So if you really want to fix the world, then, as I said, secularism is great, but I think where you really need to look is you need to look at economics, at politics, whatever your views might be, and you need to figure out how to make those work for the world. I think that's where, that's where the money is, that's where the standard of living is, that's where the future is. We're not going to fix anything by abolishing or encouraging a particular faith. Alright, that's me for tonight. See you all later.